Kumar ji, Shahrukh, and friends. There are all kinds of books one has to launch in one's long career. Simply because you're grey haired, you have lived without lived outside your time, and you have become a ceremonial figure. And there are times when, at least there was once a time when I read a Malayalam book without having read it at all, because I couldn't have read it. And it was an autobiography of a bookseller, and it was a remarkable bookseller. Anyway, there are other books which you leaf through and get somehow the idea what it is all about and say a few things about it. And there are books which you get stuck in. And Krishna Kumarji's book is that one. I bought it end of September and I finished it. And I took out notes. And I'm going to speak to you through the words which are from the book. It had, broadly speaking, three parts to the book. One is the childhood, boyhood memory of a Kasbai life. Ikamgarh and Kundeshwar. But what is interesting is that some of the aspects of Indian life are already there in terms of difference, otherness, class distinctions, caste distinctions, etc. And the second part, not really part, but we keep on mixing. The second aspect of the book is the moral interior of a civil servant. And that is the second part. And the third part is Gandhi in our times, in a broadly speaking. The book is eminently readable. It's a mixture of fiction and non-fiction. There are autobiographical episodes and ideational constructs, but they flow into each other smoothly. Their memories and such like. Now, one of the sentences which appears towards the end of the book, I like to start with that. I know these are not my times. So, the book is about times to which Krishna Kumar, and in all humility, I do not belong anymore. So these are times which are not our times. I am reminded of an interesting coincidence. I published a book of poems early this year. It was called Apna Samay Nahi. This is the title of the book, which is saying almost the same thing, that I know these are not my times. The book is also about what Krishna Kumar has said, the loss of Gandhi's many gifts to us as a nation. Again, coincidence, I was in Pune day before, and there was a Mahatma Gandhi Smarak Nidhi where I talked about Aaj Gandhi. And I said that we need to reinvent and rediscover 4 or 5 Gandhian concepts. Sahyog, Satyagraha, Savinay Avagya, and Swaraj. but I'm not going to talk about them. Krishna Kumar also says, again towards the end of the book, we are all burnt out now. We were members of Gandhi's fancy, great dream. When the dream ended, we are asleep and didn't notice. So, the book is about our times and the absence and presence of Gandhi in our times. There is a willful attempt, in fact almost a conspiratorial attempt to demolish Gandhi from our midst in whatever way it is possible to do so. But simultaneously, the more you try to dislocate or make him disappear, he seems to assert his presence. Of course, the presence among those who are here not necessarily the presence among those who are not here and who have a different view. And Krishna Kumar says, despite Gandhi's advocacy, non-violence didn't become a reliable popular impulse. Its adversary was always lurking around. So the amount of violence that we see and the kind of forms it has taken, there's verbal violence, there's physical violence, there's violence of everything. So violence has become an all-pervading phenomenon, and the notion that we are a peaceful country no longer is valid. We are a very violent people. We are trying to destroy not only each other and some of our basic tenets. We are trying to destroy the Constitution. We are trying to destroy our neighbors. We are trying to destroy history. We are trying to destroy memory, all violently, through some kind of violence or the other. Now, at another point, apart from violence, non-violence, another tenet of Gandhi was truth. Truth wouldn't get you far in professional life. In politics, you would be a laughing stock. Strategic lying, hiding facts, circulating false information are the toolkits of power. The public recognize these toolkits and smile when they are used. So, there is a complicity of a very large number of people, most of them belonging to the educated, well-paid middle class, where all this keeps on happening. How to suppress, bypass, deny truth. Kumarji observes, the center of Indian culture had moved to enable a new culture of governance to take over. The government's new discovery that administration would become quite cool if people's diverse urges and aspirations would be directed against Muslims and other religious minorities. Also towards the end, he notes that Urdu words are not words, they are Muslims. Words have assumed a kind of an existence of which one had never thought of. Urdu words have to be avoided because Urdu words have become Any kind of violence is an exercise of power. Prima facie, no new power resides in non-violence. Gandhi's voluminous texts, letters, and speeches do not furnish sufficient basis to convince us that human and the world can do without violence. So it is not just a laudatory book about Gandhi, but also questioning him, critically looking at some of the concepts that he. The state capacity for violence has terrorized truth to flee the nation. Individualization of justice has helped democracy survive by leaving the caste system alone to maintain culture and its religious content. Muslim children, they know that justice is not for them. Those who seek it shall suffer. It is the permanent low-grade heat of half-violence. Permanent religious works directives. It packages hatred as legitimate energy. So, what the book is trying to put together is what was happening in India today, especially in the last decade. Although it was lurking all the time in post-partition, post-independent India. And in the process, Krishna Kumar also examines some of the tenets and concepts of Hinduism. If there is one emotion that Hinduism in its epic narratives does not exemplify, it is any sense of collective guilt. You see, kind of lynching and coming, a group of Hindu jailers murdering a Muslim boy, somebody on some pretext of beef, this, that, and the other. And others keep quiet. Not only others keep quiet, the religious leaders keep quiet. The religious leaders do not think that this is irreligious, this is against Hindu religion. And not only that, whenever they speak, especially the Hindu religious leaders, most of them, some of them in jail, happily, for me. And that could provide us with some kind of spiritual relief that some of the murderers and rapers and such like, although they are Hindu religious leaders, are in jail. Although they keep on getting parole. Today you must have read that one of them got parole and he must be already a star attraction in the elections. The Hindu nationalist ideology has no room for guilt or remorse of any kind. Pride is all it fertilizes. Call it hatred in the deep freezer of culture and history. Any competent populist leader can raise the freezer's temperature to allow congealed emotion to flow and spill warm blood. All this we know is happening. It is not something which some intellectual like Krishna Kumar has conjured up. These are all, if you like, who was that American novelist who said, literature is a report on the universe. Now, if literature is supposed to be a report on the universe, surely a book like this has to be a report on India. A report in its best sense, not filled with factual details alone, but the other aspects of reality, which we all know and which we all are somehow not willing to admit. Or, even if we admit, we do it in a sheepish manner. We do not admit it boldly, we do not come out in support of what is being destroyed so ruthlessly, so cruelly, so violently. And Gandhi is also under the lens. Gandhi was afflicted by a deep sense of failure in the chief mission of his life, unity among the people of India. Goes on to say, Gandhi took partition and the riots accompanying it as an acknowledgement of his inadequacy. He couldn't deliver a single free India to Indians. He also, much has been written and said about Gandhi's attitude to science and technology. All too often portrayed as somebody who was anti-science and somebody who was anti-technology, etc. If he was anti-technology, I think today you will feel very justified in holding that view. This mobile technology, which has given us the democratic freedom to express ourselves and has expanded our area of freedom, has also become a tool of spreading hatred, violence, lies, rumors, etc. And there are millions of trollers who are employed and paid for to use the same technology for very questionable, suspicious, and in any case, in the ultimate sense, very anti-national purposes. So, that he takes a view. Gandhi's science is different. It ignores nothing and worries about everything. It rejects the common distraction between man-made and natural disasters. He does not separate the human from the non-human world. So this is a different way of looking at Gandhi's attitude to science and technology. It ignores nothing and worries about everything. This is extremely well said. Gandhi is also, in the book, there are questions which are boldly raised about Gandhi. One of them, Gandhi was lifelong fugitive. He never ran in office. He wouldn't have known the compulsions of authority and power. His message of courage and bravery in the cause of truth was lofty, saintly, not to last for long. This is said in one of the characters, I think the father of the civil servant, about caste system. Again, that's a nagging issue. Here also, the method to resolve untouchability that Gandhi adopted was persuading and mobilizing. Persuading and awakening are key words for the Gandhi campaign. Gandhi always viewed politics as a part of the broader work of social repair. So, my dear friends, this book is a remarkable intellectual, ethical intervention in the current scenario where amnesia, apathy, insensitivity, despairing acceptance of lies such have taken over in a massive way. There have to be voices who tell us that this is not the ultimate that India could have come to. Two, that in spite of all the despairing signs, there is always the possibility of a slit of hope. I'm reminded of the Udupi Krishna temple, where if you enter the temple, you find the image, the statue of Krishna. You enter from, and you look at its back, and the legend has it that there was a Dalit who was not allowed by the Brahmins, and my ancestors there, to of course not to enter, but not even to pray from distance from the temple, but looking at the image. So he went behind and he started praying there. And the legend has it that the Krishna statue turned. So, and there's a slit in the wall. And the explanation is that rather well-constructed temple to have a slit, that the Lord would be able to see his Dalit Bhakt through that slit. So if the Lord could see the Dalit Bhakt through that slit, there must be slits all around, beyond which hope is still present. And we should be able to locate and see that hope. Krishna Kumar's book is brutally frank, but it is also very humanly warm and also tells us that there is hope. That hope has not disappeared, that there are sources of hope around us if we have the courage or the inclination to look for it and not allow ourselves to be drowned completely in despair. So thank you. The book is Thank You Gandhi. Turning that around, I'll say thank you, Krishna Kumar, for writing such a wonderful book. Thank you.